Hello and welcome to today's flight review. Today's flight will take us from King Khalid International Airport to London Heathrow on Saudia's 787-9 economy product. Now, let's get going. Today's flight will start in Riyadh King Khalid International Airport, Terminal 2, bound for London Heathrow, Terminal 2, with a flight time of approximately 7 hours. Our trip starts 2 days before our flight to receive a COVID test, which is a first for me, but rest assured it does not hurt at all. Now, let's get going. We arrive at King Khalid International Airport, Terminal 2, which is currently used by international flight operators, including Air France, Saudia, NAS Air, and MEA, also known as Middle East Airlines. Now, let's head inside. We enter the terminal, or at least try to. Not that door, buddy. Come on, keep going. You can't go under there. Okay, there you go. As we walk in, I expect to see long queues and lines, but turns out it's the emptiest I've ever seen this terminal. I head to the nearest board to check if our flight's on time and what gate. At this time, I'm also looking around to see more people. It's still so empty. Even at our check-in counter, there is not a single person. As we bid our bags farewell, he informs us that there are over 100 unbooked seats on this flight. As you know, in the past we've had some trouble with the e-gates. Surprisingly, this one was uneventful. After security, it opens up to this massive duty-free area. As you can see, it's super big and it has everything you need. This could include stuffed animals, little souvenirs, or if you're into it, it could be some Arabic art, as well as other things. By far, my favorite thing is the diabetes wall. There are also heaps and heaps of dates, which Saudi is known for. Moving along, you can see signs with directions to all these restaurants. You can also commonly find sanitizing stands, which is really helpful. After sanitizing up, we head to our gate, which in this case was gate 26. We also are a bit hungry, so here are some of the restaurants. You can find a Paul's Bakery, as well as a Dunkin' Donuts with, you guessed it, donuts, as well as a Dr. Cafe Coffee with lots of sandwiches and other pastries. There's also a world-renowned Cinnabon, which didn't have that great-looking Cinnabons. I take one last look at the gate before we board the plane. We're greeted by a bunch of busy cabin crew, as well as walking down a hall of a surprisingly empty plane, which is actually not that surprising since there were over 100 vacant seats available. This also led us to be able to move around mid-flight to find a seat we want to stay in. I chose to stay in my seat for the whole flight, but my family chose to move around. Here's our seat for the flight, and you'll get a better tour around it later in the video. Shortly after boarding was complete, the cabin crew passed out hygiene kits. A more detailed review is to come later after takeoff. After the hygiene kits were passed out, there are also hot towels, which is super uncommon to find in economy class, but is greatly appreciated. And after the hot towels were served, they also came around providing economy class headphones. Nothing too special, but a review to come later in the video. Finally, after they've passed out all of that, they've came around once more to collect our hot towels. Here's a short clip of the safety video, but if you want the full one, link in description. We got pushed back right on time. It's a really long taxi, so I'm not going to show it all because it's a bit boring, but I really hope you enjoy the takeoff. Here's a quick disclaimer that my camera footage is a bit shaky, but I hope you enjoy. head back to the seat tour. Underneath the IFE, you can find your audio jack as well as a USB port, a remote, as well as your pretty standard tray table. There's your magazine pocket, which doesn't have any magazine because of coronavirus, but you can also find 2 pockets, which is really helpful to keep yourself organized during the flight. There's also a footrest, which is really unlikely to find nowadays, but it's greatly appreciated. There's a pillow and blanket. The blanket's surprisingly good quality. Moving along, you can see the headrest. It's your pretty basic headrest, nothing too special. The seat itself is actually pretty wide and very comfortable to sit on for 7 hours. Above, you can find your light as well as an air duct, which is really nice and looked really modern. Let's take a closer look at the IFE. There's your basic amount of movies, nothing too special. There's lots of different genres as well to choose from to find your perfect movie for this flight. Moving along, you can also find lots of TV shows. In this case, I binge watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Just one thing to note though is you have to select one of the options up top to have a selection of TV shows come up. There's a wide variety of shows, nothing too special though, but it's enough to keep you entertained on this 7-hour flight. Let's, however, take a closer look at where our flight's taking us today. The TV itself is really responsive and easily worked. The flight map is well featured and has lots to offer. Shortly after takeoff, amenity kits were handed out. We'll take a closer look at them later in the video. Finally, the time has come to review the hygiene kit. The hygiene kit comes in this handy, reusable pouch with the design that follows onto the mosque from the southern region of Saudi Arabia. There's a Lifebuoy wet wipe set, as well as a hand sanitizer. On the back of the pouch, there's the region where this is based off, as well as a brief description on what the region specializes in. Coming back to the earphones, they're your standard economy class earphones with an image of Rome advertising their direct flights. Is the amenity kit. It is based off the northern region of Saudi Arabia, containing an eco-friendly pair of earplugs as well as a dental kit. Here is the eye mask, following the design of the outside of the amenity kit with a cotton and plush inside. There is a pair of socks with airplane grippies, as well as a pair of information based off the region. 20 minutes after takeoff, a small meal was served. This includes a small cheese sandwich as well as a muffin. They also served drinks. I got a pineapple juice. All in all, this meal was really yummy and a nice snack. After finishing my meal, I decided to head to the bathroom. There's your average airplane toilet with some seat coverings to its side. There's a baby changing area, as normal. And to the left, you can find where there would be usually lotions and hand soaps. There's a rubbish bin near the tap, which has a cold and hot option. There's a Saudia branded soap and a large mirror. Hey there. Moving along, there's a handrail, 2 sets of toilet rolls, which is always appreciated, and a lock that isn't broken, a smoking sign, as well as 2 coat hooks. Alright, that sums it up. See you back at the seat. I wake up over Venice, Italy to a beautiful sunrise. The second meal service commenced. To my delight, Saudia was still doing their well-known bistro service in economy class. The flight attendant laid down a placemat and then asked me for my meals. I opted for the beef. There was an option for an omelette, which contained potatoes, and you could also have a vegetarian option if you asked. He laid down the dessert, which was some sort of yogurt, as well as a croissant. This croissant was light and fluffy, and it was nothing special. He then handed out my main course. This included a pair of not real cutlery, sadly in this case, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but it didn't make that much of a difference. He later then asked for my drink. I got an orange juice. Take a closer look at this meal. There's a tomato sauce with some minced meat and some sort of spinach vegetable. There's my orange juice, my croissant, and my yogurt dish. Here is a 75 years cutlery and a real placemat. I finished my meal while watching an episode of The Simpsons. The meal itself was really tasty and full of herbs. The orange juice was orange juice, and the croissant was really fresh. I didn't try the yogurt though, because I was really full. Soon after the meal was over, we started our descent into London Heathrow, where we were stuck in a holding pattern for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, let's head to my final thoughts. Overall, I think the crew were very kind and caring and attentive to every need you have. The amenity kit were super helpful if you need a bit of shut-eye during the 7-hour flight. Both meal services were really nice, and I would highly recommend this flight if you were flying from the Middle East to London. I hope you enjoy the rest of the landing. Going through immigration and security, which was the fastest I've ever experienced in London Heathrow, we head to the Heathrow Express. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.